The past day and a half, we've heard the origin story of DevOps. And like every good superhero, it needs another origin story. So I'm going to give you another origin story of DevOps. And for me, it started when I was a youngster in about 1986. When I was listening to popular music back then, there were rock bands and there were rap bands, and they never came together. In fact, they actually performed on different sides of a wall. This is a clip from a video where Aerosmith and Run DMC came together to collaborate on a song. And as you can see here, the developers are actually beating their heads against the wall. The operators are on the other side of the wall, also angry at the developers. Until one day, one of the developers is like, what the fuck? What's going on over there in operations land? He broke a hole in the wall and said, what are you all doing? And they said, we're making music. And he said, fuck, that's what we're doing. Maybe we should tear down this wall and work together. And so that's exactly what happened. The wall came down, Dev and Ops got together, but Dev didn't do Ops and Ops didn't do Dev. Steven Tyler did not start freestyling. He continued to play the guitar and sing. And so what they did was they focused on the audience. It's Dev and Ops working together in alignment to bring the audience joy. That is what DevOps is all about, and it started in 1986 by a man whose name is Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin is a modern-day philosopher. Rick Rubin is the person who started DevOps. I'm sorry to John and Patrick and Andrew and Deming. I'm sorry, it was Rick Rubin. And if you are still on Twitter, Rick Rubin posts, or he used to, quotes all the time. He knows everything about DevOps, and he's never even heard the word. Look at this. Sometimes what looks like collaboration is merely sublimating egos, not actually working together. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes that's what DevOps looks like. It doesn't have to be done professionally. I wanted to make sure that vibe coding got introduced in this DevOps days. Rick knows. Rick knows. All right, what else does Rick Rubin have to tell us? What other inspirations can we take from him? Well, thinking doesn't always solve the problem. Sometimes creating space allows inspiration to do the work. What's Rick telling us here? When you're stuck, get up and go for a walk. Just create some space. That space is going to help you solve that problem. True collaboration isn't rooted in verses and settling. And how often are we doing this? We're thinking about it's us versus them, and we're going to collaborate, but we're going to win. Oh, no, we have to compromise. This is super important. The reason to finish is to start something new. Stop with the too much work in process. Focus on finishing the work. As they say, start finishing, stop starting. All right? Being aware of the audience as you're making the work changes it. This can change it in good ways, and this can change it in bad ways. One of the things that Dora has shown us through our research is that those teams that are focused on their users have the best results. But I'm sorry to say there are no shortcuts. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. Is this amazing or what? Rick knows DevOps, doesn't he? He knows what the fuck is up. With every piece of advice, consider sometimes the opposite is equally true. So you've heard a lot of advice from right here over the past day and a half. Maybe it's not correct for you, but your context matters, so just consider the other side. Allow the individual pieces to retain their natural voice. To me, this, again, is DevOps. We didn't ask the operators to become developers. We might have asked them to carry the pager, but we want them to retain their natural voice. There's a visceral reaction when you know something's good. And it doesn't have to make sense. It's not intellectual. It transcends intellect. You know that time when those tests pass? It doesn't have to make any sense. Like, that's amazing. Our path is to collaborate with what's happening, not to fight it. As individuals, we can't change the entire organization. We have to work within its constraints. We have to understand how do we help the thing improve. Oh, and this one, and the final Rick Rubin quote is one to think about as you go into the open spaces today. If you're listening or speaking, either way, you are participating in the conversation. So I encourage and implore all of you to follow the work of Rick Rubin, Be more like Rick Rubin and let the universe guide you. The writing of code and the work that we do is a creative act. Check out his book, The Creative Act, It's a Way of Being. DevOps is a way of being. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathen.